Frontliner. Stay ahead. Stay informed.
Hello viewers, welcome to another interesting episode of Frontliner on Ogama TV. I am your amazing host, Chidiogo Asuke. Today we are looking at NDC South zoning. Who gets the tickets? And what is Atiku Abubakar's argument on Southern zoning ahead of 2027 general elections? Now, as political realignments ahead of the 2027 general elections continue to reshape Nigeria's opposition landscape, attention is now turning to the National Democratic Congress (NDC) and its reported decision to zone its presidential ticket to the south. The development has triggered intense political debates across the country, especially with growing speculations that former President Goodluck Jonathan may return to the presidential race. At the same time, many Nigerians believe former 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi remains the strongest southern opposition figure capable of mobilizing voters across the country. But while southern politicians and stakeholders push for power to remain in the south, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has continued to maintain that competence and national interest should be more important than zoning. Today on Frontliner, we examine the zoning debate within the NDC coalition, the growing Jonathan speculation, the political weight of Peter Obi, and Atiku's argument against strict regional power rotation. Now, why is NDC Southern zoning gaining so much attention? Okay, first of all, reports that the NDC coalition have zoned its presidential ticket to the south have immediately changed political calculation ahead of 2027. The move is being interpreted by many analysts as 1. An attempt to attract southern voters. 2. A strategy to maintain regional balance. A possible effort to avoid internal division within the coalition. The decision has also intensified conversation around who should emerge as the coalition's preferred southern candidates. Now, 2 names have continued to dominate the discussion: Peter Obi and former President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, let's talk about Peter Obi's factor. Supporters of Peter Obi believes he remains the most politically active and electorally attractive opposition figure in southern Nigeria today. Their arguments include strong grassroots popularity. Peter Obi continues to enjoy significant support among youths, professionals, and urban voters, especially through the obedience movement that gained national prominence during the 2023 elections. Southeast presidency arguments. Many Nigerians, particularly from the southeast, argue that the region has not been fairly represented in Nigeria's presidency since 1999 and deserves an opportunity in the spirit of equity and inclusion. Yes, then again, reform image. Obi is widely seen by supporters as a symbol of accountability, prudent management, and economic reforms. Opposition visibility. Now, among current opposition figures, Obi remains one of the most visible and consistently discussed politicians nationally. The growing speculation surrounding former President Goodluck Jonathan has added another major dimension to the conversation. Yes, although Jonathan has not officially declared interest in the 2027 election, political discussions around his possible return continues to gain momentum. Supporters of Goodluck Jonathan argue that Jonathan is considered by many as less divisive political figure, capable of attracting support from different regions. Experience in governance. As a former president, he already possesses experience in managing national security, diplomacy, and economic policy. Some analysts believe Jonathan could emerge as a compromise candidate acceptable to both northern and southern stakeholders within the opposition coalition. Democracy reputation. Jonathan continues to receive praise internationally and locally for conceding defeat peacefully in 2015. That was a decision many see as defining democratic moment in Nigeria. However, several questions remain. Is Jonathan truly interested in contesting? Would Nigerians support the return of a former president? And would his candidacy weaken or strengthen the opposition's message of change? For now, much of these conversations remain speculative, but politically significant. Now, what is Atiku Abubakar's argument on zoning? Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has consistently argued that leadership competence should take priority over strict zoning arrangements. Atiku's supporters maintain that Nigerians' biggest problem require experienced and capable leadership. Democracy should allow all qualified Nigerians to contest regardless of region, and political parties should focus more on electability and national unity than geography. According to this position, zoning is mainly an internal party arrangement and not a constitutional requirement. However, critics disagree strongly with Atiku's position. They argue that Nigerians' diversity makes zoning necessary for national stability. Returning power to the north immediately after President Tinubu's tenure could create political tension, and the south should be allowed to complete another presidential cycle. Some southern political groups also believe abandoning zoning could deepen feelings of marginalization in parts of the country, especially in the southeast. The central issue now is not just whether Peter Obi or Goodluck Jonathan should emerge as southern candidates. The bigger questions are, can the opposition coalition remain united? That's number one. Number two, will zoning strengthen or divide the coalition? Can any southern candidate build enough nationwide support to defeat the ruling All Progressive Congress? And will Atiku and his northern allies fully support a southern consensus candidate if zoning is maintained? The answers to these questions may determine the strength or weakness of the opposition heading into the 2027 elections. But the bottom line is, as preparation for the 2027 general election continues, the NDC zoning debate reflects Nigerians' broader struggle between political inclusion, regional balance, and leadership competence. While Peter Obi represents a new generation opposition movement with strong grassroots energy, Goodluck Jonathan represents experience, national recognition, and possible consensus politics. At the same time, Atiku Abubakar's argument against rigid zoning continues to fuel national debate over whether competence should outweigh regional rotation. Ultimately, we shall be watching closely to see whether the opposition can manage its internal ambitions and present a united front capable of challenging the ruling APC in 2027. And beyond the political zoning, many citizens are still asking the same questions. Who has the vision, credibility, and national support to solve Nigerians' economic and security challenges? And with this, we are drawing the curtain for today's episode on Frontliner. Join us again same time next week for yet another interesting episode. Till then, I remain your favorite host, Chidiogo Asuke. Bye for now.
When you think of online TV and radio, broadcasting, media consultancy, event coverage, event management and planning, there's no better name than Ogama TV. But that's not all. We're also into photo studio and coverage, equipment rental, news blogging, fashion and pageantry. We are at number 5/21 Chime Avenue, beside Open Sheraton Restaurant, New Haven, Enugu. Follow us on our social media handles: Facebook at Ogama TV, Instagram at Ogama TV1, Twitter at Ogama TV, website www.ogamatv.com. You can also send us email at ogamatv@gmail.com. Ogama TV, your one-stop media solution.